Hey squad, welcome back. Now I've made this video specifically for all of you guys who are interested in releasing your music independently. So you might not actually be looking for a record deal as such and you want to put your tracks out yourself. I'm going to show you just how to do so. Now there are a few fundamental things that I'll be covering. For example, how to copyright your music, how to register with performing rights organizations, and how to submit your tracks with your chosen distributor. And I'm going to be using one of my own tracks to demonstrate. Be sure to check out my music at ducebeats.com. Well, that's enough chat. Let's get right into it. Okay, so I've finished my track. It's produced, it's been mixed, it's been mastered, and here it is. I've just loaded the final master back into Logic so you can actually see the track. I'll give you a little taste of what we're talking about. Okay, so like I said, the track's ready for release. Now, the first thing I'm going to do, and what I recommend you do before you take any steps in terms of releasing the track, is to make sure you have this thing copyrighted. Now, I'm not going to go too much into copyright, but the point of copywriting is to somehow register or record your ownership of the finished song. Now, the song is comprised of the musical composition, the melody, and the lyrics, and they could be split between different people. On this occasion, I'm responsible for the whole thing, so I own copyright to the entire song. Now, like I said, I'm not going to go too much into copyright. However, I'm going to talk about how you can actually copyright your finished song before it's actually distributed. So depending on where you are in the world, there are different methods and different standards. In the UK, the process of copyrighting music was established quite some time ago, and it's actually really simple. If you want to use the tried and tested method, what I can do is I can burn this track to an audio CD and package it up into an envelope along with a copy of the lyrics and a document stating that I was the composer of the music and the melody and the writer of the lyrics. I'll take my package along to the local post office and send it back to myself to my home address using a service called Signed for Recorded Delivery. Once the package arrives back to my home, I will not open it, but I will store it somewhere safely, and that there is a physical old school way of copywriting. One other thing you should remember if you're using that method is to make a note on the actual package what track is actually in there, because let's say, for example, you're doing an album and you're sending out 12 or 15 separate CDs. You need to make sure that each package indicates what song is held inside. Now, here's a very useful statement from the Performing Rights Society in the UK on how to go about copyrighting your work. And as it says, there's no official method of copyright in the UK, but it actually breaks down how you can go about it. Now, besides doing the actual physical copyright, you can also copyright using an electronic format, which I'm going to show you right now. Okay, so this method of copyright is also very useful, and this is the email version. So right here, I've got my ducebeatsofficial@gmail.com email account set up, and it's always useful to have yourself an artist account. If you can have it branded with your artist name at maybe Gmail or one of the big email providers, that would be really useful. And now I'm just going to send an email to myself. Now the subject is going to be the title of the track, and then I'm going to put copyright today's date, which is the 20th of June 2019. Okay, and that's enough for me as a guide. I'm now attaching an MP3 version of the file to the document. Now there's one final step which I'm going to do later on. So what we're going to do right here is we're going to save this as a draft. So I'm just going to save and close, and you'll see in drafts that's sitting there waiting for the final stage, which we'll come back to in a little while. Okay, so the very next thing I'm going to do is log on to my music distributor to get the track uploaded, all the forms filled out, ready for release. Now I use CD Baby, and there are quite a number of different platforms that you can use. I'm happy with CD Baby. I've had an account with them for about 7 or 8 years now, and I've been releasing tracks through them. I'm happy with their fees, and they are brilliant because it's not just streaming. They provide services for actual physical CD distribution as well as MP3 downloads, so they cover the whole range. Let me just log in now. So let's come up here and just hit login. Okay, so once you've clicked login, you come to this page, which is a CD Baby members login page. Now I already have an account set up, but if you are new to this and you want to set up as a new artist, then you click join here. You go through the form to register as a new CD Baby artist. However, my details are stored. Okay, so we're now into the CD Baby dashboard, and it's brilliant because you have a whole range of different options that you can choose from. The tools that we're going to be using today is we're going to be adding a new title. So we're going to come over here and we're going to click add new title. Now you have this, you have two options. You can choose to release an album, or you can choose to release a single. I'm going to do a single, and you can go for the total monetization option, which includes them handling your publishing, or you can go for just distribution. I'm going to go for distribution. Okay, so let's just go through this. Over here, you've got all of the different sections that you're going to be completing throughout this form. My language, of course, is English, and my artist's name is Dr Duce, and the song title is Bringing It Back. I want a release date of Friday, 26th of July, 2019. And my label is called Duce Beats, and the copywriter is myself. Now my artist or producer name is Dr Duce. However, my full name is David Smart, and I always use my full name when it comes to copyright. That's just the way I do my thing. Now, when I come to this option, I always choose for CD Baby to assign a barcode. It's an extra $5, which is cool. I'm going to hit save and continue. Okay, now you've got the service agreement right here, which you can read through at your own leisure. You're basically handing over rights to CD Baby to do your distribution and to collect on your behalf. I've read that before, and as long as you're over 13 years old, you can tick that box and then put your full legal name in here. So my full legal name is David Smart, and I'll click agree, and then we move on to the next part. Okay, so here we've got track 1 information. The track itself is called Bringing It Back. And if we were to scan down, we'll see artist information, who was the artist on the track, Dr Duce, track details, any parental advisory notice. Nope, there's nothing explicit on there. Lyrics, language, English. Is this a live version? No, this is a studio version. Composition type, it's an original composition. It's not a cover, nor is it a public domain track. I'm just going to add myself as the songwriter. Okay, and I'll come down. So I added the music. So I did the music and the lyrics. Now, if you haven't got a publisher at the moment, then you leave that blank. And save and continue. Okay. Besides being a distributor that sends your tracks to, say, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Amazon, and so on, CD Baby has its own online store. So you can have a preview of your track on that store. I usually put a 30-second clip, and down here is where you can decide whether you want the full track to be played back or just a short clip. I usually do the 30-second clip. Now we hit continue. Next thing you want to do is you want to give a short song description and tell CD Baby about the music and try and keep it as brief as possible. Now, one of the best things to do here is, like it suggests, if you were to maybe come up with your description in a separate program, maybe something like Word or Google Docs or something like that, you log back into this and then you actually paste it in. Okay, I'm just going to hit save and continue. I can always come back to this one later on. Okay, now we come to the single notes. Again, this is something that you can do offline. Then copy and paste it into here. This is where you go into more detail about yourself as a musician, about the song itself. And it says, don't worry about making it too long. This can be a lot longer than the previous section. Okay, again, I'm going to hit save and continue. You can always come back to that. Now, genres. Now, this bit here is quite important, because in order for your track to be placed in the right categories when it comes to distributing your song to the different outlets, it's very, very important that you choose the genre or a genre that is very close to what your music represents, the sort of sound your music represents. Now, you've got a lot of options here. Now, mine is sort of instrumental R&B kind of vibe, so I'm going to go with that. And then you've got like a subcategory, so we can look through here and then choose something that again sort of represents your flavor. So I'm just going to put smooth soul right here because it's quite a smooth track. You've got a second genre option. I'm going to put it into easy listening, subgenres, lounge type vibe. Yeah, let's go for that. All right. And the mood, I'm just going to choose instrumental. I might come back and change that later on if I choose to. And artist location, so I'm in the UK. I'm going to put London. And what else have we got? Sound alike. Now this is optional. I'll have to have a think about that and then come back and fill these in. I mean, these are just examples. Then you will put some suggestions in here, and that really helps the algorithm, especially when it comes to streaming services. Okay, so let's keep it moving. We come to the digital track price on CD Baby. So this is what you want to charge for your song on the actual CD Baby if you were actually selling it. Now, as standard, their standard fee for each download is 99 cents, and you get paid 90 cents per download. Okay, so this is your download price. You can charge up to $2.99, but I generally leave mine at 99 cents. I think that's fair. Okay, so right here you click save and continue, and then it comes to the ISRC, which is similar to the barcode, and if you've got one you choose this, but I need to have one assigned, so I'm going to choose that and have them provide me one. Okay, now this bit is important as well. This is where you can decide where you want your track distributed to. You can choose CD Baby only or downloads only, but I go for downloads and streaming services, and these are all of the different outlets that your track will be sent to. Okay, and all of the big players are in there. And now we're going to hit save and continue. If you've never released anything before and you haven't got a Spotify profile, CD Baby will go through and actually set that all up for you. So you don't need to do that separately. This service will take care of setting up all of your artist profile on the different accounts. Okay, so you can again choose what territory you want to release your music in. I'm always going to go for all territories and all countries. You got the option of opting in for their full monetization program, where they collect all of the money from wherever it is played online, and you can choose that or you can ignore it. I'm going to skip for now. Okay, and now this is where you upload your artwork, and it's really important that you get your artwork done properly. These are the settings that you should really go for in terms of dimensions. These are the file types. This is the sort of resolution that you want to aim for. Try and make sure your artwork is less than 25 megabytes in size. and it's got to be RGB color scheme, not CMYK. Once your artwork is all done, then you hit browse your files and you can upload your artwork in there, and then save and continue. The next thing you've got to do, again, this is very important, is uploading your audio file. This is the actual track. For many of us who use Macs, our default setting when bouncing down, we export to AIFF file format. That doesn't actually work here, so that's important. The other thing you want to make sure of is don't export to 48 kilohertz or 24-bit. It's 44.1 sample rate and 16-bit resolution. Okay, make sure of that. You can upload MP3s, but I would always say that you export your file or bounce down your file from your DAW as a WAV file, 44.1 sample rate and 16-bit. Okay, once you're done there, you're going to come over here and you're going to choose the file right here, and then the track will start to upload as you see right here. So I'm just going to hit save and continue. One of the things that I don't like about this page is you see these notes moving around, but it's not clear as to what the progress bar is doing. But if you were to really look carefully down here, you will see this green moving. So it's a bit like of a lighter green here and a darker green there. But it's not very clear. I mean, if they change this to sort of yellow or orange compared to the green background, you'd actually see it clearly, or make this bar a lot bigger. So just keep an eye on that, because otherwise you'd just be sitting there not realizing what's going on. Okay, so once the track is uploaded, you can, if you feel that you've done something wrong, you can hit remove track, upload another version or something. Otherwise, you just hit save and continue. And then you get this window. This is where we are now. And what's handy about this is it tells you what bits need to be sorted. So for example, it's telling you that your artwork needs to be finished, and there are some release requirements over here that need to be finished off as well, and you need to pay. Okay, so if you were to come down here, you could actually click on any of these, like for example, the album description. You can add an album description, you can add album notes, and you can go into any of these little tabs here. So let's say, for example, I wanted to go back in and finish off some bits. What I'd probably do is I might just click on this right here. Can't quite remember where the single notes were. So if I click save and continue, just work my way through until I find the section that I want. So over here, actually, there we go. So short song description. I need to fill that in. Okay, and then once I'm done there, I can do the single notes. Okay, fill that in. I can actually log out from here now and then go back in and complete the whole thing maybe later on today once I've done my descriptions, which is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to log out for now, and then once I've done my single notes and my short description, I'll go back in and I will pay. And there's one other thing I need to show you regarding copyright, which we'll do in a short while. Okay, so now I'm just going to upload just a quick mock-up and album cover, which I've just put together. This is not going to be the final release, but just to show you what this page will look like with the album cover, I'm just going to click on here, browse for the file. So I'm just going to browse for that. And again, we get the sort of progress indicator here, and now we see your album art has been uploaded, and you can have a high-res preview. Click on that, and this is what it would look like. And of course, you could remove it if you want. I'm going to press save and continue. I want to get back to that final page. Okay, so this is the page I want. And now I want to finish off my email copyright process. And this is just how I do it. I'm going to take a screenshot of this section. So I'm just going to highlight this here. Just that section right there. Okay. So now this screenshot has got the title of the song, the album cover, and all of this important information, as well as the release date. And I'm going to drag and drop the screenshot into my copyright email. Like I said, this is how I do it. You don't have to do it this way, but it just kind of makes sense when you're preparing your copyright email. So let's go back to that. Insert photo, and I'm going to select upload. I'm going to choose the screenshot and choose. That's going to now upload directly into my email. And now you can see I'm sending it back to myself. Duce Beats Official. This is the title of the track, the copyright date. Here's a screenshot of the album cover. Here's the songwriting information and the release date. And now I'm going to send that to myself. And here it is in my inbox. Open that up. And there it is. I have my track attached. I've got the image here. As you can see over here, I've got a folder here called copyrighted tracks. And I'm just going to send that over there. So if I go to this and I'm going to move to copyrighted tracks. And now here we go. And here's a list of some of the recent tracks I've uploaded to that folder. And of course the email is date stamped. So if I hover over this, you'll see the date stamp and we're good to go. So that's an important part of the copyright process. Now, as you can remember, there are a few bits that haven't been completed yet. For example, the single notes and the short description, which I'll need to go back in and complete. I'm going to be replacing the album artwork a bit later on. And as you can see, it remains unpaid. I'm going to log out and log back in and just show you how you can get back to this if you were to, say, take a break and come back to finish this off later on. So let's just log out. Okay, and let's say we were to log back in. Okay, if you remember before, when we were just starting this thing out, we went to add new title. Now we want to go back to finishing off the previous one that we were working on. So you want to come up here to albums and singles, click on that, and you'll see just here, unpaid items. Here we are, bringing it back. You come over to this side and you go to view and edit, and that will load that up. Say, for example, I wanted to go back in and add the short description. I'd probably click somewhere along here, I think. I think it was after the subgenres. And what you can do anyway, on the left-hand side in this column right here, it tells you. So, short description. Click on that, and now we can add that. And if I wanted to add the single notes, here we go. Scroll down, I can fill this in. All right. And when this is all done and everything has been fully completed and you get through to the end, you just go through to your cart, you pay, and then CD Baby will give you the opportunity to review and proofread everything, making sure that every bit of information is correct. Because once you hit submit, that's going to go off to the different outlets and it's pretty much final. Once you hit send, it goes off and it takes a couple of days or so, and then you'll get a notification to say that your track has been listed and your release will be good to go. Okay, so as you can see right here, the project remains unpaid. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to add to cart and we're going to click yes there. Let that work. And CD Baby will offer us some additional options. I'm going to skip that for now. And let's just look at this summary right here. So I'm paying for the single submission as well as the UPC barcode. Just hit checkout. And it's going to be $14.95 to pay. Now, in terms of payment options, I've got the option of paying by PayPal, credit card. I'm going to go for my credit card, and I've already got some credit cards listed. So I'm going to choose the one that I want to use on this occasion. Okay, all of my information is already input. I'll just put my security code in and then hit continue. Checks that I'm happy to pay $14.95. Hit process, place the order, and there we go, order confirmation, and a receipt will come through to my email address showing me that bringing it back has now gone through for processing, and within a couple of days time I'm sure this will be all sorted and listed in the relevant places. So that's that part of the process. Okay, so now I want to cover a part of the process that is often overlooked, but is just as important as what we've covered so far. And that is to do with performing rights organizations. Now, in the UK, the two main performing rights organizations that I'd like to mention are the Performing Rights Society, or PRS for music, and PPL. Two organizations support rights holders just like yourself. So if you are a composer, producer, a songwriter, a lyricist, a performer, being involved in the recording of a song which has been played publicly or broadcast, then you really ought to sign up with these guys. Now, that's for the UK. Now, in America, there are other organizations, as you can see right here, as well as Canada, and in other parts of the world, you've got your own performing rights organizations that deal specifically with your territory. So all you need to do is just do a Google search in your territory and find out which organizations would be most appropriate for you to register with. Do your research, but make sure you do sign up. Okay, so now let's look at PRS, for example. So what do they do? So as you can see right here, we pay royalties to our members when their work is performed, broadcast, streamed, downloaded, reproduced, played in public, or used in film and TV. We support them by influencing policy, supporting and hosting awards and events, and investing in new technology to ensure we're fit for the digital music age. Now, the main reason why you want to sign up with these guys is so they can collect your money whenever your track is played publicly or broadcast. Simple as that. There's a couple of things that you need to make sure you have before signing up with these guys. You have to be able to prove your identity, and you do need to have a bank account because they have to have some way of paying you your royalties. All right. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you how to go about registering a work. I'm going to use my track, Bringing It Back, to demonstrate this process. So at the top here, you're going to go to Works. You scroll down to Registering Works and Agreements. And then you scroll down again to Register Works and Agreements. Okay, so you come to this page now. And what I want to do, I want to register a new work. If I wanted to amend something that I'd already put into my catalog, I could do so, or I could look at previously registered works. This is the one we want, so we're going to click on that. And the title of the track is Bringing It Back. Do I have an alternative title? No, I don't. But if you do, you'd add that in here, and it will be listed here. Anyway, the length of the song is 3 minutes and 22 seconds. Has the work been used on TV or radio or cinema? Well, it hasn't been so far. Does the work contain samples? Well, no samples that need to be cleared, so no. And then you can decide whether your work fits any of these. Mine doesn't. So I'm just going to hit save and I'm going to continue. And now I'll hit next. Okay, so you can add the writer's name here. I mean, obviously that's me there. If there was another writer, I'd hit that. And then you have this range of options that you can choose to add the additional writers' names. On this occasion, I don't need to do so because I am the sole writer and composer of the music. I have 100% of the performing rights and 100% of the mechanicals. And now the mechanicals is who owns the actual recording. Now you hover over these and it will tell you what each box represents. Now this first one here is the performing rights. I have full ownership of the song. Now this one is the mechanical rights. And the mechanical rights are the ownership or the rights held in the actual recording, okay? The master recording. Now I own 100% in both, so that's me done there. I'm going to hit save and I will continue. Now we need to add the ISRC code. Now this is important because you might be registering a song that has been recorded but not yet released. So if it's just been recorded and it's sitting in your library waiting to be distributed or sent to another performer or something like that, then of course you would click no here. But in my case, where I've actually released the song on a multitude of platforms, I am aware of activity, and that opens up all of these options here. If you hover over this little question mark, it will give you an explanation as to what that option is about. In my case, the record label is Duce Beats, so put that in. Product title is Bringing It Back. catalog number. Now you add your own catalog number. The artist is Dr. Duce, and if there are other artists, then you'll add them in. So let's add that Dr. Duce in there. And the release date is, I think I went back and changed the date. So yeah, that was the 31st of July. Yeah, because I changed the date from what I had originally. Have I got any US licensing going on? Not at the moment, so nothing there. And now the ISRC code. Now I'll show you where you get that. Let's go back to CD Baby, and under albums and singles, you click on albums and singles, and then you choose view and edit, and then you scroll down to tracks and audio, and right here you can see your ISRC code. I'm just going to copy that code here and I'll paste it into this box, and that's it there. And now I'm going to save, and then I'll continue next. Now, do I want to submit multiple titles based on this registration? I suppose you could do, if you wanted to submit remixes and alternative versions of the song, you'd probably do that there. And of course you can hover over this question mark to find out more information as to why you might want to submit multiple titles, but I'm good. I'm going to hit next. And here's a brief summary of the registration. And now down here, I want an email copy of the registration. I require both of those, so I'm ticking those boxes. I'm going to click send, and in a short while, I'll receive confirmation of that, and I'll show you what the next step is. Yes, send registration. So now I want to confirm this. Okay, and we are done. Now, what I can do is I can print off a copy of the registration for my filing, or I can start a new blank registration. I mean, the options are quite self-explanatory there. So I've now completed registration of my song, and at least now when that song is performed, PRS will be able to collect my performance royalties for this particular song. Okay, great. So as you can see right here, I've received my email confirmation in my Gmail mailbox. And yeah, this is all nice and tidy. Has all of the information that I entered. And all I'm going to do now is store this in my folder called PRS registrations that is now listed. Okay, so it's always good to keep things nice and organized. So now just really briefly, this is PPL, and the web address is ppluk.com, and this of course is for rights holders in the UK. And right here, as you can see, who can become a PPL member? Well, as it says here, if you've performed on recorded music that has been broadcast or played in public, you could be entitled to royalties. So that may well apply to you. And for those of you who aren't in the UK, I'm sure there's an organization that will represent you in just the same way. So I recommend you register and take out membership. With PPL, of course, as you can see here, it says it's completely free to join. But once again, you must be able to prove your identity, and you must have a bank account for them to be able to pay you your dues. So that covers the performing rights organizations. The final thing I want to show you is over here on Spotify. So what I want to show you right here is my track has now been listed on Spotify. So if I click on this, and there you have it, ready to go. Okay. And these are the other tracks that I've recently released. Okay. So that's it. The system does actually work. And if you follow the steps that I've shown you, you'll be able to release your tracks completely independently and take control of your musical destiny. There are other things that are involved, such as promotion and marketing of your music, but that's something quite different. The whole point of this video tutorial is to show you how you can actually do this thing yourself, protect your rights in your works, and how to ensure that your royalties are collected on your behalf for public performance of your works and your performances. Okay, so I hope you found the video useful. If you have done, please remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, drop me a line in the comment section if you have any questions or if you just want to give general feedback. It's always great hearing from you. Remember to also check out my other social media and my music website, ducebeats.com. And like the rest of the MTTC squad, remember to switch on your notification bell so when my next video drops, you'll find out straight away. Until next time, I'm Dr. Duce. Peace.